Hey everybody, this is Tom Williams with The Lost Miner. Welcome to this episode. As you can see, I'm not out at the property for this video. At home in Houston, and what I want to do for this video, since I'm not out there working, is I want to go ahead and show you guys my first property. I've talked about it before in this channel. Our first property we built on a beautiful piece of property, built the dome, rented it out for one season, did excellent. We had a really good season, and because it was so remote and because of the difficulty accessing the property to do construction is so hard, we decided to sell it and then buy where we're developing now. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the property tour video I made for my first property. And again, this was whenever I worked with a realtor to list the property for sale. I did the photography and then I did a property tour as well that went on the MLS. So it's only about a 1.5-minute video, so I'm gonna go ahead and play it all the way through, and then I'm going to react to it again. We'll play it again, then I'm going to react to it, stop in different places and talk through what we did, talk about the location, talk about the build, etc. So we'll go ahead and play. Also, I'm going to link the video below if you guys want to watch it again. Okay, there you go. Now, Pam Klaus, and if any of you guys are interested in property out in the Big Bend, West Texas Realty is awesome. There's the contact information right there for Pam. All right, so let's go ahead and play it again, and I'm going to stop at different points and talk through the property. Okay, as you can see, when you've been out there for a while in the Chilingua area, you get to know all of the mountains and everything. This is Agua Fria Mountain right here. Our property was situated really high, and it's in the Solitaria. So the Solitaria area is north of Highway 170, west of Highway 118, and in this area, basically they have the prominent structure out there, or the prominent feature out there is this imploded volcano. If you look at a satellite video, I can't remember what the technical term is, but basically if you look at a satellite view of this area, you'll see what looks like a huge crater, and so what that is the remnants of a volcano. But anyway, Solitaria area, really remote area. So this is the driveway approaching the dome. Okay, I'm gonna stop it right here. So the dome's kind of in this area, but the views were absolutely amazing. We got so lucky with this property that, in the sense that the views, it was extremely remote. That was the huge downside for somebody that wants to try to expand. But you could see everything around it. It was so high, you could see everything around it. Like these are the This is Big Bend National Park over here, and these are the Chizos Mountains. You can see part of it. You can't see the whole Chizos on the video. Certainly out there at the property you can. But like this is called Casa Grande, and then I believe this is Emery Peak right here. This might be the Lost Mine peak right here. Okay, so just to kind of talk through our setup, on this side of the dome we had the picnic area. If you've been watching our channel, and you're probably a little familiar with our second dome that we built. The setup is very similar. So we've got a picnic area with picnic table, and then we actually have a gas grill at our new dome. This was like a park style grill that I got off of Amazon. Worked really good, but just needed charcoal for it. But worked, you'll see a close up in it, just like the type of grills that you'll see at parks. And then this was where we had the shower, and we did composting toilet. So I'm probably never going to do that again. But it did work, but it was a pain. I'll talk through that. One thing it's funny seeing this is you can see the roofing for the shed that had the shower and the composting toilet. Whenever we first got to the property, you could tell where somebody had built some kind of structure. It was almost like maybe a small A-frame, like tiny, like you could just get it and camp. Probably it was used for hunting. People would go out there and hunt, and then just had like a little structure to camp out in. But there was pieces of tin, and I had actually run out of the metal roofing, corrugated roofing. So I picked there was tons of it, around the property. So that's an old piece of, at some point in time that somebody had out there. Okay, so this is Herman's Peak, and this is the actual Solitario right up here. So this kind of line of what looks like mountains right here, this is the Solitario. So that crater that you can see in the satellite view is up in this area. I'll actually, when I'm doing the editing on this, I'll show a satellite view. This is Henegg Mountain right here. Beautiful mountain. And basically our new property, so this is on, I guess, the south side of Henegg Mountain. And then our new property is kind of over here where you can see in the distance. It's probably right here on our property is probably right here where this peak is. So this right here on, you can see from the west side of Henegg Mountain. You've got from our property, you've got a good view of Henegg Mountain, but far on the other side of the on the other side of Highway 118, which is kind of in this area right here. Okay, and this is Terlingua Creek right here, which was really cool. There's pretty much always water in Terlingua Creek. I guess it runs from around Alpine. I don't know if it goes further north than that, and then runs all the way into the Rio Grande. And the water will literally just rush through there after a rain. And one thing that was cool is like people that have properties where Terlingua Creek actually runs through it, it's perfect for being able to get water. I know somebody that in this area that has property on Terlingua Creek, and that's how he gets water. He literally just pumps it out into a water storage tank. So I built all of this furniture that you see right here by hand. I just got dimensional lumber and built it. Turned out good, and we had a queen size mattress, and we had a plastic mattress protector, and that's how we did. These are just solar lights, so there's little solar panels that are mounted to the outside of the deck for the dome, and then so basically you could just come in, turn on the lamps here. There's a couple other lamps by the little kitchenette we had. But people would just bring their own linens, just like they do for our current dome. Works out really good. We actually had one person that rented this, didn't read the description well, And then it was freezing, and he didn't bring a sleeping bag. He said he was really cold, but I think what we're going to do on this dome, we're going into our second season on this dome, but I really think that I'm going to get some kind of emergency sleeping bags just in case that happens again. But we send so many reminders on our dome right now on what's included, what's not included, what you should bring. Really, it's because you ignore everything if that happens to you. One thing on the kitchenette that you see in the dome, it worked awesome, worked great. We just had a hose that would run outside to a 20-pound propane tank. One thing I decided with the current dome that we have was to not have any ability to cook inside the dome. It ended up being a mess. The floor was completely stained from grease, and it kind of get up on the wall too. So that's why we decided in the new dome not to have any kitchenette, anything to be able to cook inside. We do have a coffee and tea bar, but that was one thing that ended up being kind of a problem. All right, so we had a tiny wood stove. This did nothing for heating the property. Literally, it was just aesthetic. So I bought it because it was sized for 300 square feet. That's what the dome is. But what I didn't take into account is the dome is very tall. Okay, it's a lot more space than a conventional structure that would be 300 square feet. Would not heat up the dome. So we ended up using a Mr. Heater Buddy for here too. This was also, I guess, kind of a bad idea because people would use the fire. It's very aesthetic. It's really cool having a fire going in there, and it will provide some heat in the immediate area. But when it's really cold, you're not going to feel much heat. But the aesthetic thing, I think, was the biggest thing. But people would leave things on top of here, and they would burn. So even like the glove that we would have for, using the tools to stoke the fire, people would leave the glove on top of there and it would get all burnt up. So yeah, this glove that you see right here on the bottom. The view was incredible. Having Terlingua Creek down here, Hen Egg Mountain, incredible view. One thing I really liked about this too, right now our dome's south facing. So I've got this reflective material, Reflectix, I believe is what it's called. And actually I cover up this bottom section. Our dome's south facing and just gets way too much sun in it. And what I liked about this angle heading toward, looking towards the north, is you could actually use the bay window. You didn't have to worry about, the sun just like blaring through the bay window all day like we do on this new one. All of our property was limestone, and when you have a lot of limestone, you've literally got fossils everywhere. You could pretty much walk and stop almost anywhere on the property, bend down and pick up a fossil. So the flooring we used utility boards. I think I'm going to use that for the A-frame as well, but I'm going to get them much more narrow because out there in the desert, wood warps so much that your boards start to kind of concave. So the way you avoid that is you just get very narrow pieces of wood. So I'm going to try doing that for the A-frame. But all these fossils in here, they're just fossils that we picked up around the dome, and then just put them in cement, and then put some, I think it was polyurethane or something like that I put over it. But it was really cool, the amount of fossils that we had. You can see some cabins, in the area. A lot of the places that you see out there are completely unoccupied. A lot of them abandoned just because so many people buy property out there and they end up doing something and then just giving up. Or they just go out there, for a few days out of the year, maybe a couple weekends out of the year, or a couple weeks, something like that. But for the most part, You see a lot of cabins out there, but they are not occupied. I believe this one you can kind of see in the distance is a friend of mine's, and he goes out there quite a bit. All right, so you saw the, let me see if there's another. All right, composting toilet is a barrel system. You're supposed to have at least 3 barrels, right? We only had 1 because I could have made the rock it was so hard, the ground was. I dug a hole, and you're supposed to bury these barrels like halfway down, and then you just sit on it like a regular toilet. But it was way too difficult to dig. Even with the demolition hammer, it was incredibly difficult. So if I did the system again, I wouldn't even worry about digging. I would just make a platform around it and just have them sit in a platform. But they fill up actually really quick. When you run it when you use these as a short-term rental, people use tons of sawdust put in there because you use it and you put sawdust, and then it would just fill up way too quick. And it was actually incredibly heavy too. It gets so heavy when we have to change it out. It was a huge pain. So I don't plan on using this system again. It worked, but I don't plan on using it again. Okay, the shower room. This right here, we have a similar system for washing dishes on our new dome, but it's inside. This was, you could wash outside, and inevitably it gets really windy out there in the Big Bend. This would almost always be on the ground. It would blow off. Here's the shower room again, a little bit better view. We had a really cool system for the shower. I'll probably never use it again just because every now and then guests would not be able to take off the top. We used one of those sprayer cylinders that you use for like spraying for like herbicide, chemicals, you know. It was a big kind of stainless steel cylinder, and basically you just fill it with water, pressurize it, pump it to pressurize it, and then there was a valve on the wall, just like a regular shower, and you just turn the valve on, and then you would get pressure and you could take a shower. It was really, really cool. But like I said, some people, for whatever reason, and I put instructions on how to troubleshoot it, but there were some people that just no matter what they did, they just could not figure out how to take off the top so that they could put more water in it. But it was cool, right? We had this barn door right here, so while you were showering, you could actually open that sliding barn door, and it's complete privacy out there, and you could just take a shower kind of like it's open, you know, have a nice view while you're showering. So you can see we also had, you know, campfire out there. You can see the Starlink, same Starlink that we use at our current property. That Starlink's been really good. Never had any issues with it. So again, there's a Solitario. Herman's Peak is a prominent feature out there in this area. And that is it. The property was absolutely beautiful. If you guys have any questions at all about how we run our glamping setup, let me know. I learned a lot from this first property. I learned about what works, what I really don't want to continue doing. It was beautiful, beautiful property. But for doing a vacation rental, I would recommend that anybody get any property out in the Solitario. I highly recommend it. If you plan on getting something for yourself, just for your own personal use, you know, it's a great area. It's absolutely beautiful. Some of the best views you can get in the area are out there. But for me, trying to not only have something cool for me and my family, it's also a business as well. It's too remote, and it would get problematic with people. Even though I had bulletproof directions on how to get there, the directions weren't really an issue. It was the 45 minutes of driving slow on ranch roads, and then having inclement weather, and then people getting, you know, stuck or not being able to get out I had people that had to stay extra nights because they couldn't get out because of the road conditions, or not be able to access it because of road conditions. So we did have probably, I don't know, maybe a couple, not too many, maybe a couple. I can remember a few situations that happened, but only maybe one or two resulted in cancellations. And yeah, plus people go nuts out there and they don't respect, you know, how the conditions of the roads and how fast you should drive. Not with the new owners, they actually had somebody that ran off the road completely because they were driving too fast out there. I had people get a flat tire and they didn't have a jack to jack up their car and change their tire. Had to troubleshoot several situations, and me being here in the Houston area, it was really a pain trying to troubleshoot those type of things, not being out there. Okay, if you guys enjoyed this video, please give me a like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos, and see you guys on the next video. Take care.